Hi, hello, I'm Mina the Mouse, and welcome back to Tavern Talk. Claire, Ria, and Archie returned from their escort quest, and I'm excited to see how it went. Hey, yeah, Innkeep. Ria. Innkeep. Care. Greetings, Innkeeper. Hello, Archie. Finally came to tell you the tale of tales. Told you we'd be back with a good one, didn't I? Indeed. It's a thrilling story, be certain. That being said, you look like you've got thrilling stories to tell yourself. No, none thrill me as much as yours will. Well, grant me one question still. Shoot. Who's that granny on your roof? That's an old friend of mine. She's helping me tidy up the tavern after the flood. She's a really nice friend then. I suppose so. I didn't know she was on the roof. Are a lot of tiles missing? Half of them. About a quarter. Just a few, actually. That's not particularly conclusive, but I trust Una and her abilities. Sometimes. Closing your eyes is the reason you'll run into the edge of a blade one day. Or not, if I'm lucky. Yep. Did the flood hit you as well? You bet. Had to hold on to Ria for a quick second there, or else she would have been swept away like a twig. Archie, I heard you wished. What? What? We had just passed Themis when it happened. Luckily, there were two carriages nearby, wedged between sturdy trees and a large boulder. We managed to pull ourselves out of the raging waters and into those carriages. Thank the dragons. It could have gone south real quick. And your tavern looks a wee bit wet as well. It is. I've been working non-stop to clean it up. That's not good. Working non-stop? Comes with being self-employed, No, I mean the flood. Never heard of a flood that massive. It spread all the way from Themis to Zenith. Yeah, right. We certainly aren't that close to the sea. Themis, maybe, but not yet in. It's all still very recent. We'll have to wait until we know the true extent of it. Back to your story. How was the journey to Daria? And how did you manage with the flood? The journey to Daria itself was uneventful, but venturing to Darian capital, all the more so. As for the flood, it didn't really bother us until we arrived back on the mainland. I think we should tell the story chronologically. That might make it easier to digest. Thank you, Archie, for being a voice of reason. Alright, go ahead. Me? Yeah. You're good at telling stories, after all. You think so? Aye. Alright. Listen closely, for this unfolds a story of terrifying as heroic. Here we go. It was midnight and the moon was standing high when three adventurers assembled at the meeting point. Didn't know we were taking this carrot here along. What a surprise. A pleasant one, I hope. Having one party member more than anticipated was at least more pleasant than the surprises that lay ahead. Now I'm intrigued. So, accustomed to the pleasant surprise, we ventured to Theodore's abode in Summers. Very fancy. Very expensive. Don't think I've ever seen such a posh bit before. 3 stories tall. For one person. To be fair, one person and a lot of staff. Like cooks, maids, and a gardener. For a holiday residence. Even worse. I'm very much appreciative if we didn't judge people based on their amount of wealth.
Or their lack thereof.
Exactly. So, you arrived at this holiday resident in Themis? Right. We approached the gates and rang the bell. The fog was creeping up around the house. It was pressing us to go in. A man in a black suit opened the gate and with a deep raspy voice said, "State your business, please." Some sort of butler told him, "Listen up, clown. You are our business." Which wasn't very polite. No one asked you. Maybe you should have. Then they wouldn't have thought we were bandits. Well, we got that cleared up, didn't we? Because I introduced myself quickly when I saw some guards already approaching. I introduced myself as Gustav Archibald Richmond III. Knowing my family and the childhood friendship that Theodore and I had fostered for over 2 decades, the butler relaxed and let us through.
You know what's funny, Innkeep?
What?
The other lad was also a threat.
Born in the same generation, both the side of our names. Perhaps that's why we were destined to be friends, like our fathers and their fathers were. Theodore Hugo Frederick St. Clair III is his full name. No one called him that. We called him Theodore. Oh, Theo! By the way, we rang him out of his sleep, so he wasn't all that amused to see us.
And then he laid eyes upon you, you ginger. Never seen a gaze light up so fast.
What do you mean?
That he was happy to see you. That's all.
Oh! Well, I was also always happy to see him. So we caught sight of each other. All violent tensions were blown away.
And others were created.
I found our visits very peaceful.
Yeah, there's a polite lad. Offers us tea and biscuits while we waited for him to pack his things.
Yeah, not a fan of rich folks and their antics.
Tea and biscuits ain't much of an antic, no?
Ugh. Throwing you off a cliff is. No one does that. Metaphorically. He is the reason we almost died, though.
Kid, you don't need to blame the customer. Incidents like this are a reason they need help.
Right. It will all make sense when we get there. So, after Theodore packed his things and we made our way to Windmore at sunrise, from there we took a ship. A brig, just for us, and whole crew for a diplomat. Safety is important for a politician.
The food was great, to say the least.
At least. We had to take the ship as, you might be aware, innkeeper, the bridge connecting the rear to the mainland was destroyed. I recall. I had forgotten. So the ship we took brought us to the Twinborough and not to Amasa itself.
Why was that?
Apparently the debris from the bridge is a safety hazard for passing ships. Oh. And if there was one thing we didn't need, it was distress at sea. Makes sense. We were lucky enough with the weather. The sea stayed calm. Even the thunderstorm right behind us.
And then the mood on the ship was jolly. Theo entertained us with stories old.
Oh, he is a great story. He's a great storyteller. I wondered where he gets all those thrilling narratives from. Actually, I suppose he still reads a lot. We used to read together when we were younger. We'd read the same book, but always one chapter at a time, before giving it to the other to read the same chapter. That way, it felt as though we were reading it together. He was always so imaginative. Still is.
We weren't bored a bit before we reached shore. You're not bad yourself with your stories, lad.
I'm glad you like them. Actually, already working on the story about you two. The claw of Edway and the hammer of...
Thunder?
Real proscript, the hammer of thunder? No. Real proscript, the hammer of thunderous strikes.
Keep working on the lad, you're getting there.
The story. Can we continue? Of course. We arrived at Twinborough in the late afternoon. The sun was already setting on the horizon, tinting the world in colors of purple. At that point, none of us could have imagined the world would be tinted red soon enough.
Red like the sunrise or red like blood? We got off the ship after a short break in Twinborough. We made a red to Amasa.
We got about 2/3 of the way without any issues, until darkness settled around us. Type of darkness that creeps on you like an eerie mist. Type of darkness that chokes all noise out of the world. You know something is going on if you hear nothing. No birds, no crickets, no wind. Just dead silence.
Didn't even realize it until Kale pulled me aside and pointed it out.
Just as I was explaining it to her, my ears perked up. Far away, I heard some low humming sounds.
Didn't hear it myself. Thought you were making it up. And muttering noises in the dark to make up for the absence of light. Sometimes the brain does things like that.
It was so silent, except for all the humming. I started getting this feeling in my guts.
Like a sixth sense?
Like that, yeah. Don't know if it's the genes or the experience, but at some point you start feeling something shift and things ain't as they should be.
Gotcha.
Either way, I heard the humming, and it's not long before it turns into a growling.
That's when I heard it too. Deep and guttural. I saw the silhouettes in the woods, left and right. The eyes reflected our torchlight eerily. I heard them closer to Theo. To protect him.
Soon we were surrounded by a knot of
zombies. A lot of them. Everywhere. They were moaning and groaning and ready to feast on us. I grasped Theo's hand because I had to hold on to something.
Had to act fast. They had already seen us and were surrounding us, so running away wasn't an option. Clearly, we had to fight our way through, so I readied my sword. It wasn't far till Amasa. I felt sturdy as a rock, like nothing could harm me, and I needed to ensure the same for Rhea, Archie, and Theodore. So I reached into the powers of your drink.
The woman stopped working abruptly while these speeds were approaching us. I threw my hammer just in case. I didn't throw it. That would be stupid. I heard her mumble words I didn't understand.
Enhanced by the citron you put in our drinks, I called on my Baba, asking for guidance. I've never had much business with the dragons, but she had. I hoped if I reached out, she could lend me some of that. I'd never felt so close to her before. Not even when I buried that chimera.
The zombies approached, pressing closer and closer against our dim torchlight. Then suddenly, a shield of light burst from her sword, engulfing us, and pushing the zombies away in an eruption of divine force. It was a light of radiant gold around us, simmering softly.
I didn't waste any more time and kept going. Honestly, I barely know what I did myself. It was all a haze. Luckily, it seems the undead are like pack animals, at least for the most part. Made all the slashing even easier.
Oh. She pushed forward, cutting through zombies one by one, the rest of us at her heels. But it seems like a bottomless pit, and more came rushing towards us. The traveling shield blocked most of them, but eventually it began to crack. Fair enough. 4 points of sturdy, forceful impacts enough to break, but I made sure to push the undead back with my hammer.
Meanwhile, Theodore seemed scared. He told me he wished
that it was just another assassination attempt instead. At least then the foes would have been alive. I was just as terrified, but I did my best to keep him safe. Then, he tripped and fell. I tried to catch him, but he pulled me down with him. Kerlin was so focused on getting through the ambush that he pressed on. We fell behind, leaving the shimmering shield's presence. Darkness enclosed us, and we caught the attention of the zombies, who began cornering us. I couldn't let us die, so I called out for Ria. But Reynard already noticed they were gone, so I called to Kerlin and headed back to the lads. I smashed every undead head that dared to come close, and Archie, well, I didn't know you had it in you, lad. Well, it was out of necessity. What happened? One of the zombies grabbed Theo's leg and attempted to drag him away from me. But I got up and drew my rapier and poked the thing straight through the eye. It dropped to the ground like a wet towel. Fascinating. Good on you, Archie.
A little. When I heard Ria, I hurled around. They were all by themselves in the distance, almost dying because someone didn't watch their feet.
Easy, Ker. Accidents happen.
Accidents kill people. Obviously, I couldn't let that happen, so I rushed back. We lost a lot of our precious advantage as more came flooding by the second. Not wanting to waste any more time, I pulled Theo by his collar and threw him over my shoulder. Can I be Theodore in a theatrical reenactment? I mean, what? I wasn't risking any more accidents. Of course, he didn't like that. Later, he said it was invading his personal space, but I told him I could have let him die instead, which maybe wasn't the right response. I guess. Shortly afterwards, we reached the gates of Amazon.
The guards came to our aid and helped ward off the zombies. Kerlin set Theo down, and I helped him inside the safe borders of the city. The horrors were over, and thanks to Kerlin and Ria, we reached our destination. And through you, kid.
Yeah, suppose you didn't do too bad of a job.
Theo was beyond thankful. Even though he wasn't amused by being thrown over Kerlin's shoulder, he understood that she saved his life. He was so impressed that he said it would make for a great story. He even started on the first draft. But after the fight, he felt really inspired to solve the conflict between Dyria and the mainland. So, he'll probably have no time to finish it. He decided to give the manuscript to me. He said he's always liked when I told him stories, and he'd love to hear this tale in my words. I promise I'll write something up for the next time we see each other.
Still a better love story than that one romance book.
You mean the one with the vampires?
Yeah. Nice reference.
I doubt this is going to be a love story.
I was talking about you two lovebirds. Me and
Theo? We're just friends.
Sure you are.
Either way, we brought him to his destination in the city, had some tea, and started making our way back by noon. We tacked on some tourist traps. The tricks don't work on you if you're up against it, if you know what you're up against. I bought a mug. You sure did. But I already have more than enough mugs at home, so I wanted you to have it. So you'll always remember our heroic adventure. I would love to. Trinket time. I'm an avid keepsake collector. Oh? Splendid. Oh my god. It's a #1 income. Anyway. Afterwards, we had some tea and make our way back by noon. Once we arrived back to the mainland, the flood hit like it had been waiting for us. I can still feel the cold water clinging to my bones. Speaking of, I freshened up a bit. Woo! I'll freshen up a bit. I still have mud in my shoes. And then, maybe I'll continue the rest of the story. Of course, take your time. Now that's just us.
Indeed. That kid is so green behind the ears.
Weren't we all?
Can I offer either of you a drink?
After a journey like this one, I could use something that tastes like rocks and generates my stamina.
Coming right up!
Yes.
I'll make Ria her very, very strong drink in the next episode. I'll see you around. Bye-bye!